A few home truths that need to be told here, I think.
Yeah. She will put him in a position he hasn't been in yet. Pressure, pace.
Tony messaged on one of the YouTube, I think it was episode 8, and he said, "This is a great show." So I thought, okay, I'll read this because obviously he knows the time of day. He says, "The best racing podcast out there." But then he had a criticism, Pad. He says, "I think Paddy should appear more grateful to be on the show and be more enthusiastic. There's a lot of people who would love to have this gig." And it did make me think that there probably are. Could you be more grateful, please?
Look, I'm sorry if you think that, Tony, but that's the way I am.
I would like you to be more grateful, particularly to me in some way. I don't know what. Maybe you could bring in some gifts or something each show or something like that. I don't know. But I would like you to be more grateful. One thing I wanted to mention to you as well, just before we get going, because this would be something we could put out on the show. Nico got in touch not long ago, and he just said, "Do you think Paddy would do a charity boxing match against me?" What?
Yes.
I'm worried though. You go for the right, over the top, and you're just going to slip off the top of his head, aren't you?
No, I won't. Just between the nose and the eye, right on the right jaw.
Okay. So you want to commit something serious to Nico?
Get this over the line.
I mean, that would be great. Just think of the crowd. I'll do the commentary.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We don't need a referee.
No, I'll do the commentary. I'll ref as well, if you like.
No, we don't need a ref.
But
he'll just need someone to throw the towel in.
It is a tricky one for me because I like you both. So I really need you to both knock each other out at the same time. Like a power pat blow on each side, a bang. Then I can stop the fight. We can get all the ambulance in, all that kind of stuff, and probably police as well, to be fair. There'd be a riot, wouldn't there? Right, we better get going. Hello, everyone. We've made double figures, Paddy.
Can't believe it.
Episode 10 of Unbridled is with you. Welcome to the party. And once again, Pad, who do we say thank you to?
BoyleSports.
Yeah, you have to say it. You can't just point because, of course, a lot of people, the thousands out there that listen to this on Spotify. Etc.
I just did.
Yeah, you did. To be fair, you did achieve that. Yeah. Thank you to BoyleSports for sponsoring the show. Loads and loads to get through this week. Right. How was your week? What have you done? Have you been anywhere, done anything, or were you just boring as ever?
No, it was quite nice, actually. I went to Cheltenham on Saturday.
Did you? For Trials Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely day.
We'll get on to the trials then. What did you do then that was exciting?
No, I was kindly went as Harry Redknapp's guest, and I went to the Royal Box. I was in company of Sir Alex Ferguson, Harry Redknapp, and lots of others. It was lovely to watch Harry and Sir Alex talking. When you grow up being a massive Man United fan, I was in awe. Just two legends.
I find this lovely to hear because obviously there are some stables and some stable jockeys and members of stables that meet these guys all the time because they've got horses with them or they ride horses for them. But obviously not every jockey is in that position. And was this genuinely like a moment for you that was kind of cool?
Yeah, massively. I didn't expect Sir Alex to be there, and obviously to get him and Harry in the same room. And I asked Martin St. Quentin would it be okay to take a photo, because obviously in the Royal Box there's people around and you don't want to be getting your phone out. So he said, yeah, go ahead. And when I took the photo of Sir Alex and Harry said, would you mind sending that to me? Like, it's just lovely. As I say, for me, I don't take them moments for granted. I was a massive, massive Man United fan, and yeah, them managers are remembered forever.
And you know that feeling you had, and this is absolutely genuine. That's the feeling I have with racing people. Like still, even though I've done this job quite a long time now, and I've met most people in racing, including, the likes of Sir Alex and Harry, and interviewed them. I got a message from Aidan O'Brien the other day out of the blue, and I'm not going to say what it said, but never ring me again. Yeah. But, when I grew up, the idea of, when I was a kid, that someone like Aidan O'Brien would ever send you a message, or Sir Henry Cecil would ever speak to you. So that's exactly the feeling I get, even sat opposite you. Like, I never thought I'd be sat in a studio with a Gold Cup hero like yourself.
Nice to say, boy. You're lucky.
Though you did throw one away, of course.
you're lucky to be like that because it just helps you love your job. You love the people you're working with, and yeah, you're in a fortunate position. But yeah, like we don't take things like that for granted, and yeah, it's good.
Right. So trials day, you were there. You met your special friends. You made special friends. But what were the horse or horses that left the impression on Paddy Bradley? Paddy Bradley? Paddy Brennan. You know why I said that? Because Paddy, I have to explain this now. Paddy got very upset with me on telly the other day. And ultimately, we had a conversation. At the end of it, he said probably he didn't need to have got upset. But that's why Paddy Bradley's in my head.
Okay.
Right, Paddy,
Anyway.
talk to me.
Yeah, obviously, Constitution Hill was the star attraction. Look, he went around with his ears pricked. It was beautiful to watch. I imagine from Nickolls' position, it was a beautiful place to be for 90% of the race. But yeah, he had a bit of a mare going down to the last. Similar to Sir Gino at the last at Kempton. He was in the amber. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Red, amber, green. Red means no, green means go. Nico was in the middle. He didn't do either. And he was very, very lucky. And if you ever wanted a good advertisement, Matt, for these new padded hurls, now when they first came out, right, I was the first to moan about them because I had to find something in my career to moan about, and it just happened to be the padded hurls because for the first few races, horses were spooking, they were ducking, they were this and that, and I'd be coming in screaming and roaring. But one thing you learn as you get older, Matt, you listening to me?
I am, yeah. One thing you learn as you get older.
Safety comes first. It's the absolute priority in horse racing. No one wants to see any horse getting injured. Constitution Hill at that last hurl on Saturday, them padded hurls, if they ever needed any advertisement, it was there and then. If you can have an image of that last hurl where his leg was stuck in, because it was padded and rubber, he was able to just slice to the other side, no injury. If that had been the older hurls, that could have been a lot different. He could have been on the floor. And just giving you an example, Gorshin, when he had that mishap at the last, if it had been these padded hurls, he'd have won the triumph. That's the difference.
Even with those padded, though, couldn't Jamie Moore have got unbalanced? It wasn't an unbalanced thing.
Matt, honestly, the thing with them padded hurls, they don't. When you hit them, your momentum is still going forward, right? When you hit them older hurls with the timber posts, they can bring you from 25 mile an hour to 5 mile an hour the back end of it. Whereas them rubber ones, you can kick it, you can hit it, and you can land at nearly the same speed. It's a massive difference.
In life, you kind of get on with someone okay if you can just wind them up a little bit and they take it and they're good with it. Yeah. So this was the message that I sent Nico de Boinville at 4:24, according to my phone, on Saturday afternoon after Constitution Hill and made that mess up.
That all said, what were you doing? What were you doing at the last? What was going on?
And
don't. I had a bit of a Paddy Brennan cue card moment, didn't I? Anyway, all's well that ends well.
Did he have to get that in?
Well, I thought it was brilliant. And when you said similar to, a little earlier on in this show, you said it's similar to Goshan, but I thought you were about to go, it was similar to me and Q Card.
No, we're trying to forget about Q Card. Believe me, you go 2 strides past that hurl and you say to yourself, what the was I doing? What was I doing? And because you've been there, you've done similar, and you've ended up eating grass.
You certainly did. Constitution Hill's now 4-7 for the champion hurdle with our friends at BoyleSports, our supporters and friends. Is it still a terrible price, Paddy? Do you still think Constitution Hill is no good?
Matt,
it's time to change your tune on this. I promise you.
Let me speak. Constitution Hill What a horse. You know, when you speak about trainers and you sometimes focus on the word genius, right? Let's be very careful how we word this. Nicky Henderson's handling of Constitution Hill has been genius. Genius, that man. The way he's handled him, Sprinter Chakra and many others. But let me tell you now, come the champion hurl, please, if the likes of Brighter Days Ahead, Lossiemouth run, Brighter Days Ahead especially, she will put him in a position he hasn't been in yet this year. Pressure, pace. He had a lovely day on Saturday. 1 to 10 or whatever he was. Beautiful. He's won the fight. The war's just ahead of him.
Of course, they said that about Apple's Jade back in the day, and she was absolutely useless in the champion. Everyone said, oh, Apple's Jade will take all the beating. She's an amazing mare. But broken. I mean, you do understand we're dealing with one of the most incredible jump horses any of us have ever seen, or is that just not kicking in yet?
Yeah, no, I think we do. But at the same time, he's had his mishaps. I've said about Nicky, but Matt, in life, you've got to predict stuff. And yes, possibly could be wrong, but Lossiemouth runs this weekend at the Dublin Racing Festival. See what she does. We
record this show, as everyone I think will know by now, but some people will be listening for the first time. Remember, you can catch up with all the episodes on YouTube and the At the Races website. All there. We record this show at around 9:30 to 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. Should we give? I mean, it's become a sort of regular thing, but should we give Hendo a quick call, see if he picks up? One day he won't, of course. Oh, it won't even ring. It's hold on. Here we go. Here we go. He's got to be out on the gallops, hasn't he, about this time? Tucking into a big breakfast. No, this is going to be the day. It's going to.
Your call has been.
Right. Well, wait. Historically, he's always been a good man and rung back. Let's move on. East India Dock.
East India Dock.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, did everything nicely. Questioned the race a little bit, but he didn't impress me anywhere near Nicky Henderson's horse at Ascot.
Why not? Because the form is much better than Lulamba's.
Just Lulamba, the way he went about stuff. And
oh, he rang back. I had it on silent. Oh, gosh. This is the problem when you're being professional, you see. Let's see. Hold on. He's back. Hendo! I've just...
Hello.
Wait, I'll be quick, Hendo, because I know I presume you're really busy.
I'm all right now.
Oh, you're a star.
Yeah.
I've just got Paddy Brennan to... Well, I didn't get him to say. He said it freely. Nicky Henderson's training of Constitution Hill has been genius.
Thank you, Paddy.
It
Are
has.
you trying to get out of dinner?
Yeah, are you trying to get out to dinner?
No, I'm not trying to get out of dinner. No, but I meant that.
I'm going to ask you 3 very quick questions, Nicky. First of all, one or two people that I've spoken to who know more about this kind of thing than me has said that the way Constitution Hill walks now and is in himself is better than he has ever done in the past. His presence, the way he positions himself before a race, etc. Do you see that?
I think, he sort of suddenly realised he is quite important, I think, in himself. He sort of believes that now. Kempton was amazing, and the crowd there and everything. I think they actually get him going now. He's such a placid, laid-back horse. Everything he does is just unexciting, but it's suddenly as if he's sort of got himself into a new frame of mind, and he's a much happier horse than he ever was before, actually. He likes his new house that we built him, and I just think he's enjoying life an awful lot. He's well, too. That's the main thing.
Obviously, a conversation like this is all touch wood, because we know what can happen any moment at any day. But in your mind, Nicky, if you were being really honest with someone, say you're sat down at dinner, tucking in with Paddy, say, even if the miracle does happen, on a personal level, without anyone else around, could you argue that the place he is now means that he could actually be better than ever, rather than just the equal?
It would be hard to be better than what he was, wasn't it? In that Supreme Novice Hurdle and in the Champion Hurdle. I mean, you couldn't imagine a horse could possibly decimate fields like he did without coming off the bridle, and he can do that. And yeah, of course he was the same on Saturday, but he did have, to be due deference to the opposition. I mean, they had next time and got prize money, but I mean, he was doing one thing and they were minding their own business, really. I know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's in command anyway, and he's enjoying himself. That's the most amazing thing. I do think he's moving very well as well.
That was kind of what I was trying to say about the walking, that there's just something about him that seems happier now.
I think he's just got that sort of swagger about him, and the crowd was just brilliant on Saturday, and pre-race and afterwards. And he's a long way in stature and in sort of presence, if you like, that Sprinter Sacre was. But Sprinter knew that he was the best-looking horse in England. He knew he was the best horse. And I think when they get to that stage, they probably do. Constitution Hill is not the best-looking horse in England. But he's getting that sort of idea about it that people do quite like him. And so he sort of tended to get to be a little bit of a, okay, look at me.
Nicky, just one last question. Well, one question for me on Constitution Hill. Will you take him to Kempton again this year after last year, or what are you thinking there?
Good question. I think you might expect me to say that I might give up public gallops with him because that's been an absolute. I mean, I'm trying to be good, and even when he's not racing, to sort of to show that he's alive and well. I mean, I'm very glad we did do that in public last year because it was such a catastrophe that if it had happened behind closed doors, I don't think anybody would have believed me anyway. Yeah. We were in that situation when everybody was saying, well, he doesn't exist and he won't. And, and it was a public disaster. So everybody actually could see where we were, i.e. we were in a bad place, and could appreciate that. And to be fair, the Newbury Gallop wasn't quite that bad because what I was trying to explain to everybody afterwards, look out. Yeah. Gino is a very, very smart horse. And he's since won a Grade 1 hurdle and a Grade 2 chase. I think I was sort of right when I said that. Yeah. And that's what Constitution was taking on at Newbury. There wasn't anything wrong with him. Yeah. It was just the other horse was a bit more forward than him, but he's very, very good.
Thank you.
He definitely...
But as for Kempton, I was just thinking really that having got that race under his belt last week, which was sort of added in, as you know, that probably he doesn't need Kempton. But, I mean, Nico got off him on Saturday and said, for goodness sake, this horse is too fresh. Keep working him. Don't give him any time off. He's having this week off. That I can assure you, whether you're Nico or Paddy.
Thank you.
It's so fascinating talking to you. If you do have a secret gallop, Nicky, obviously Buckers will be invited. Your sponsors will be invited, but you could invite me and Paddy if you don't want to invite anyone else. Yeah, we'll keep it to ourselves. Don't worry.
But you'll make it go wrong again.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Very quick couple of questions. Sir Gino, all set for the game Spirit?
I think that's the plan. Yeah, I'd like to go to Newbury.
Excellent.
It's just a great track, and he's in good form.
Did East India Doc slightly scare you for Lalamba?
Yeah, I was impressed with him. Yes, I mean, we've got to do our thing. They're going to do theirs. I can't. Yeah, I think he sets a good pace, and he'll certainly, if he's going to do that come March, then he's going to give them a nice lead. I just hope we're somewhere on his tail. Have a look, see what's happening.
And if Sandown's all systems go at the weekend, which, we'll find out in 24 hours, would Django Bay run in the Silliars?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's been his target all the way along, and hopefully we will be there on Saturday.
Okay, well, look, Nicky, we've kept you long enough.
Thanks so much, Nicky.
Really, really appreciate you joining in the fun with this show, because this is the worst possible time of day for you, so thank you.
No, it's all right. I'm here. It's always enjoyable talking to you.
Okay, well, we've got a few more questions then. Anything else in the yard that you can't wait to run at the moment? Final question.
Well, I think the other one that comes out of the woodwork now is Lucky Place.
Lucky Place, yeah.
It's the stairs because, that form is very good. When he won in New Year's Day, he beat Nicholls' horse, giving it £6, and that came out and won Saturday. And I think that form is pretty solid. the only thing we are doing is we're taking that he'll stay 3 miles on trust. That's why, but we didn't run on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I think he comes into the equation. So those are the sort of John Bon and he and the ones you mentioned, Lumbers and Constitutions. They're the sort of grade 1 horses.
Actually, Nicky, I just want to say one thing to you. I must have been watching a different race to 99.9% of the people in the world. And I'm not just saying this to butter you up in any way. But I know Palladium cost a lot of money. But as a hurdling debut the other day, I thought he jumped beautifully in the main, a little bit out to the left on occasions, but in the main beautifully. When he was tackled, he ran on strongly. And yet, after the race, everyone slated him to a man and woman. If he hadn't cost a lot of money, I was thinking, that's a lovely hurdling debut. Am I nuts or are the rest of the world?
No, absolutely 100% right. We were thrilled with him. Absolutely delighted with him. As you say, it's one of these silly situations because of price tag. I mean, if you remember years ago, every time John Bon ran, they had to mention what he cost. You will notice now they never mention what he cost because he was cheap.
Yeah. Does he go for the Adonis Palladium or straight to Cheltenham? Or
Palladium, I'd like Palladium going. He does need to run again. I mean, he's a big colt, and they just take quite a lot more work. He's quite stuffy. And I even was talking to the previous trainers, or somebody was telling me that they always said he wasn't a very good horse at home either. He only came on the race course, and he wasn't wound up to do that. Bearing in mind, I mean, he's going to have a summer campaign on the flat. Yeah. He's still a colt.
Yeah, you're going to win the Hardwick.
We're going to win the Hardwick, and then he's going to become a stallion when the Melbourne Cup. Yeah.
Hold on, is that in the back of your mind, the Melbourne Cup?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, the people that were underbidder for him were going to do that this year.
That is fascinating, because actually, joking apart, I mean, I know the Bamfords will keep this horse and they don't need a few quid, but if you wanted to sell him as a Melbourne Cup horse now, you'd probably get $1 million for him straight away, and he wouldn't be, you know what I mean? I know they wouldn't sell him, but you get that kind of money for a Melbourne Cup horse.
Well, you do, absolutely, very, very comfortably, yeah. No, but I mean that's part of the whole plan. Is we're having a look at hurdles. I mean, you're running the Adonis, and then hopefully the JCB, and then we'll be going flat racing, and then come the autumn, that's the sort of races we hope we might be looking at.
Laugh at me, Nicky, before I let you go. Is there any chance at all that you would give Constitution Hill an Ascot Gold Cup entry?
We talked about it a couple of years ago, and I said to John Gosden, look out, we might be going for the Gold Cup. He thought I was talking about Cheltenham. I was talking about Ascot. It's always crossed my mind, yeah.
I'm being serious here, because he's so lightly raced. He's in the form of his life, and we know historically when you have a top hurdler, I mean, you only have to look what Vauban did, even though Vauban hasn't been absolutely top class, but Constitution Hill is a lot better than Vauban, that there is not much difference between the two codes.
No, there are two things possibly against it. I'm not sure he'd actually even stay that far. But,
the point winner. And after his first run over hurdles, you said he's a 3-mile chaser in the making, Endo.
Yeah, he's not a point-to-point winner.
Oh, well, that's true, yeah.
He was a runner-up in a point-to-point.
Yeah. Okay, good point.
I would say the two things against doing something like Ascot is having to keep him up after you finished your winter campaign, and then you got to keep him up till June, and then what's the ground going to be like? The chances of getting a cut in the ground in Royal Ascot is, it would be fun. I don't disagree with you, but I think the ground would be the frightening thing to keep him up for that long, to find out it's too firm to run him. Well,
you've given us a few reasons why not, but just remember in the back of your mind, Endo, how we started this conversation with Paddy Brennan saying Nicky Henderson is a genius. We'll leave it at that, Endo.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Paddy.
Bye-bye.
God, he even says goodbye to you now.
He knows me now.
Did he ever ride for him?
Yeah, I rode Kyber Kim actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Before he went to Twiston's?
No, it was after he'd been denied.
Did he go to Twiston after or before? Who did he go for? He
went to him. He was in Nicky's, then he went to Nicholls.
Right.
He was Greatwood second, and I think he went back to Nicky's after all that. So yeah.
Right, we've got a lot to get through. So East India Dock, you still would be with Lulamba?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a very tricky one. I don't think the market's right here. Lulamba's all about what people think. East India Dock's all about form in the book.
The Dublin Racing Festival might bring another out, but it's opinions. You got yours, I got mine.
We have got a boost though on East India Dock, 130 from 5 to 2 for the Triumph Hurdle with our friends at BoyleSports. Dancing Naas, were you impressed with that horse at Naas? Dancing City.
Yeah, jumped very well. It's interesting to hear Willie's comments after that. He's quite lazy and yeah, look, he couldn't have done any better, and he stays really well. I think Cheltenham would probably suit him, wouldn't it? Yeah,
another for the Donnellys. What a strong batch of horses they've got.
Incredible.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Shrewdest people out there. Jukebox Man out for the season. I can't tell you how gutted I am for Harry about that.
Yeah, Harry was in Ben's on Saturday actually and seen him on the gallops, and he was, everywhere he went, people were asking him about him, and he was so excited. I was gutted when it popped up on my phone yesterday, and I could tell you Harry loves his horses. He'd be absolutely gutted. So, yeah, hopefully he'll be back, but big shame.
Yeah, it really is, because for such an enthusiast like Harry, like, he understands the game. He'll have managed football teams where his best players got injured just before a big game. He knows when you're dealing with athletes what can happen, but you know how hard that will hit him. And also after Cheltenham last year, where he was so unlucky to get picked up, was it by Stella Story, was it?
Yeah, but he was, on the flip side, he had a shake him up Harry's first ever Cheltenham Festival winner. So he's been there, and at least he's had a winner at Cheltenham Festival. And if he hadn't had that last year, it'd be a bigger blow. But anyway, yeah, hopefully Jukebox Man will be back next season and go again.
Could Dancing City get anywhere near Ballyburn?
I think I'll be very interested to see how Ballyburn jumps this weekend. As I said to you, he's got a hell of an engine, but he needs to jump better, a lot better.
Okay, our sponsors have just been on. Dancing City out to 4 to 1 from 3s. It's a boost for Dancing City. Would it grab you by the kahunas?
Look, he's definitely got a chance. But as I said, Ballyburn this weekend, he needs to jump better, a lot better, and we'll see what he does.
I think we'll see a completely different horse. I think he'll explode back on the scene. It was weird with Ballyburn because he had this aura about him, didn't he? And he went to Kempton, there was no aura. Everyone was just expecting Sir Gino to beat him. It was really odd.
Yeah, he's jumping left a little bit to be desired, so it would be interesting to watch him out again.
Once we had Faheen, now we've got Maughreen. Impressive.
Yeah, I actually only got to watch it back last night, and she was good, Matt. Very green.
An exciting Tuesday evening you've had.
Very, very green. She was ducking and diving, and she jumped okay in the hole. And obviously Willie said after she'd probably go straight to Cheltenham. He will know better than anyone, but I don't think you'd look at that race and think you couldn't beat her if you had one good enough. She didn't look like a Quevega or any power to me.
That said, of the boosts Boyles have offered up for us, I don't think this is the worst 7 to 2 from 11 to 4 Maughreen. If you fancy Maughreen, I could see her going off quite short on the day. Because of this relationship with Faheen. I think there'll be a bit of, people will think, Faheen, Maughreen will just be as good. You know what I mean? I think there'll be support for Maughreen at Cheltenham. I think there'll be a fan club. Obviously, I was a big Faheen fan. I'm not quite so crazy about Maughreen yet, but more just because the name. I don't actually really like the name.
Maughreen. My mother's called Maughreen. So you better start to like the name. Right.
Let's move on. I want to talk a little bit more about the Dublin Racing Festival this weekend. Galopin des Champs, Factor File round 3. There's only one winner, isn't there?
Gotta be some race. I think Factor File will get much closer. I really do.
They're going to change tactics.
It is between the two of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's between the two of them.
Well, who else do you think can get involved?
Well, no, I don't know. You're going to tell me.
Well, they can't. So
okay.
It is between the two of them.
But I just think if he does things a little bit better through the race, like he was keen the last day, fresh, keen. He just, a bit like you, Matt, he needs to chill out. Relax.
So true. Honestly.
Relax.
So true.
So if he does,
always saying that to me.
If he does do that, he'll come a long way further, closer to Galopin, and yeah, it'll be something. I can't wait to watch it.
Really? Excited?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I just checking out that I haven't said something stupid when I say it's between the two, but I really do think it is. Monty Star, Embassy Gardens, Gentleman's Game, Hewick, ground's not going to be right. Maximus in there, of course, Grand National,
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see him come back and jump around. He pulled up last time, didn't he? And he hopes for him for the national.
When Galloping de Champs only a shade of odds on, I'd have it about 2 to 5 for this race. Honestly, I know you think Factor Fast. I don't know why you think that. Why?
I just think he over raced last time.
Why wouldn't he over race this time?
Because he's had the race and he hopefully won't be as fresh.
Okay. Right. Other horses at Leopardstown that could give us something for the future. Calypso's Chance is unbeaten in 3, I think, so far. Calypso's Chance was a winner at Navan, Punchestown, and won a point-to-point at a place called Corbridge. Have you ever heard of Corbridge?
No.
No, nor me. Anyway, it won a point-to-point there. If you're a point-to-point person, you will be very excited by that. Beat a horse called Trust Me Nate, who has pulled up in 2 out of his last 4 starts, but actually has got some maiden hurdle form. Calypso's Chance.
Yeah, it looks a hell of a
Ever
horse.
heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, what can you tell me?
Michael O'Leary's, right?
Yeah, good effort.
Yeah.
Well, Jigginstown, yeah.
Patrick Mullins won on it last time.
High Mast Marvel.
Yeah. Teal up north trains him. He does very well. He's had a good record of horses coming out of his yard. Look, he's very, very impressive to date. I'm sure Leopardstown will really suit him. Stiff track. Yeah, he could be very, very good.
Got another unbeaten one in there for Jigginstown. He Can't Dance, and Green Splendour looks good for Double Green as well. Willie Mullins, have to see if that runs. Was a winner at Leopardstown last time. Used to be with the Crawford for Munir and Swade.
Great race is that bumper at Leopardstown, isn't it? You know, you could be looking at a future Gold Cup horse in there.
Yeah. Henry de Bromhead's got an interesting one as well. Scope to Improve, who has won at a point-to-point and won at Naas in a bumper. So you'll get some clues there.
Yeah, definitely.
On the bumper scene. I tell you what, though, they're going to have to go some to do better than Pipey's did at Ascot.
You really like that, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I think Pipey does as well.
He won't be getting his own way in the Cheltenham bumper. That'd be the only thing I would say about him. Like, he obviously made all in Ascot. At that champion bumper, you get down to that start, all you're missing is boxing gloves. I mean that. Everyone's jostling for a position, jostling off your horse, pushing you in, pushing you over. Chill out, lads. Relax.
But if you were down at the start in the champion bumper with Nico and you both had boxing gloves, you'd be confident of coming out on top, yeah?
I'll kill him. Absolutely kill him. I just love them bumpers. I just drop out the back. Just get out of it. You watch them all up. You'll be looking up there and they're knocking each other over. Keen getting run off. And I just stay at the back. Love this.
Sunday, State Man against Lossie. Lossie, of course, who you say is better than Constitution Hill. What do you make of this? I mean, State Man's hard to judge this season because, to be honest, you could argue he was okay, I guess, first time, but you could argue he's been disappointing both starts and obviously was absolutely hopeless last time.
I don't think his first run was disappointing behind Brighter Days Ahead. I think he had probably a harder race than anyone could have expected that day, and maybe it left its mark at Leopardstown. Lossiemouth, obviously, is a warm order. Will she beat him? Yes, she will. Will she beat him easy? Yes, she will.
I'm so pleased you've just said that.
Good.
This is why jockeys, ex-jockeys, jockeys in general, and we've got millions of jockey pundits now, they look at racing in a different way to the people. And this is why it's great that people like me are around, basically. State Man was 4-9 at Punchestown, and you can come on here and say he wasn't really disappointing.
I did say he was disappointing.
No, you said you couldn't. You said first time out he wasn't really disappointing.
No, when he was second to Brighter Days Ahead.
Punchestown, yeah.
He wasn't disappointing.
He was 4-9.
I don't care. Look what she did after.
But only a jockey could say he's not disappointing when he gets beat at 4-9. Only a jockey.
What beat him?
The Mayor, Brighter Days
Yeah,
Ahead.
just say that word again.
The Mayor, Brighter Days Ahead.
Thanks. Keep going. Keep going.
Was State Man the champion hurdler?
Yes.
Okay. And the champion got beat, but it wasn't disappointing.
Well, a new kid on the block beat him.
Can't touch this.
Maybe she broke his heart a little bit. Has your heart ever been broken?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Frequently. Most recently, when the powers that be said, do you want to sit in the studio with Paddy every Wednesday morning? I thought, Christ, that's breaking me. Right. El Fabiolo's got an entry, hasn't it? Against Gaelic Warrior.
Hasn't run for a while. Yeah.
That could be the joker in the pack in the champion chase, though. Remember El Fabiolo beat John Bon in the Arkle back in the day?
He wasn't. He was disappointed at Sandown after, wasn't he? After Cheltenham. Oh, I'm not sure he jumps well. I couldn't have him.
Ciliars at the weekend. We've already spoken, of course, to Nicky. Django Bagos. Impere Pass is in there.
Oh, yeah, I heard that was an unlikely runner.
They're not going to... I mean, Mullins... I mean, he's been absolutely whipped by Endo this season over here. It's the only way you could say it. Khalif de Burley for Nicholls.
Can you ring him?
Should we ring him?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can't guarantee he'll answer.
Oh, he will.
You never know with Nicholls. You never know. He's a very busy man.
We just want to know if it's running.
Yeah.
Right, Matt.
Hi, Paul. Thanks ever so much for answering. We're right in the middle of Unbridled with Paddy's here.
Is he back from his holidays?
Yeah, it looked terrific, didn't it?
Tell him to keep his trousers on this time, not his shorts.
Some people just shouldn't take clothes off. Mind you, just by the pictures of you in Barbados, I'm not sure. Oh, dear. Sorry. Right, the reason for the call, we're talking about the Ciliars. If the meeting's on, does Khalif de Burley go?
Yeah, definitely runs.
Oh, yes.
You like him, Pat?
I love him.
Yeah?
I do.
Yeah. I'm not sure the Irish horse is running. You haven't heard yet, have you?
No, but we're kind of under the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie's not going to want to get whipped by us again, is he?
No. Well, no. But I suppose with all the weather and one thing and another, it's a bit of a risk. So yeah, I assume he probably won't be running.
Is Khalif the most? I mean, outside of Caldwell Potter, is Khalif de Burley the most exciting young chaser in the yard right now?
Well, yeah, I would say he is. Yeah, I mean, he's been progressive. He's now rated 152. He's a young horse. He can only improve, you know. So he's going to raise his game again, isn't he? Really?
Okay. Well, that exciting. He's exciting. Pab, one question. Quickly.
Yeah,
It's busy.
Paul, the one horse I'm really looking forward to seeing out, I think you said it might be running next weekend or the weekend after, Regent Stroll, 2 miles.
Yeah, he's in good shape now. He's scored actually twice this week and twice last week. Just been doing a few things different with him. He runs at Exeter a week Sunday in that listed novice hurdle.
Yeah, looking forward to watching him.
Sorry, I've just got to
He seems in good shape.
quiz you on that, Paul. When you say things like done things different, what does that mean to us who don't understand this stuff?
We're trying to get him to relax a little bit. He's just been a bit fresh and a bit keen. And I've probably been a bit kind to him, so we've done a bit more. We're upped his workload a little bit just to take the edge off him a bit and scored him a few more times just to get him to relax. And, you know, I've just thought the last time in particular, he was too wound up before he ran. He was too wound up going to post, just too fresh. So we just realise young horse, but you can do a bit more with him and just try and take that freshness off him so he's relaxed in a race.
I was kind of thinking over 2 miles, you'd bang him out on the front end, but if you're relaxing at home...
Probably, well, you can do that easy, that's fine. You know, he's just getting him mentally to relax, because last year he was so laid back in the way he ran and when he turned up at the races. This year he's a different animal. He's just like, you know, well, he was like a raging bull at Newbury beforehand when we saddled him and everything, so he's just got to chill.
Yeah.
But Paul, what I learned about Newbury and some tracks as my career went on, I used to think, where is the start if I was riding a keen one or one that might like. I cannot tell you about that Newbury start 2.5 mile. Yeah, they go down through a golf course. They're dodging golf balls, and it can really wound them up. I had not one of my greatest moments on Crambo there. He did the very same thing. Yeah. I pulled him up, and he's gone on and won 2 long walks. So I completely forget about that race.
Yeah, you can forgive one. I mean, Harry did say, he said he'd run his race before he started. You could see that really in a lot of ways. So, yeah, as they get older, they learn, and he's got to learn.
Have you got anything in mind for Potter at the moment?
He'll probably go straight for the novice handicap at the festival.
Okay, brilliant. Paul, we'll leave you be. Have you got your gallop back?
Yeah, well, it's all back in. We're finishing working on it today. We'll be able to use it tomorrow, thank God.
Good man.
And
appreciate you taking the call.
Will be on.
Yeah,
well, anytime.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. That was interesting, actually. Yeah, that was actually good from you there.
What?
That was good. The Regent Stroll. Well done.
Thanks.
Finally.
You told me you'd take 10 shows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jesus. Well, you pay peanuts, you get you, don't you?
You haven't got any better. Next question.
Is there anything else at the weekend you wanted to mention at all, or have we covered most of the goodies?
think we've covered.
I do think Sandown will be iffy, to be honest. So the time this goes out, this show Wednesday night.
I think the BHA though, you've got to give them a bit of credit again. They've put 3 new chase races in.
Yeah,
just
trying to sort
because at Sandown you literally are chalk and cheese. The chase track can be good to soft. The hurl track can be heavy, and it's really weird when you go there. People can think it's the same. It's absolutely not. So like if they do, I personally think if there's anything going to be off, it'll be the hurl track, and they will race the extra chases. And if so, fair play to the BHA.
Yeah. Just going back to that silly hours. So you got Django Bay against Caliph de Burley. Which one do you have?
Caliph de Burley. I think he's very good. Very hell of a race. Hell of a race.
That Newbury thing you were talking about golf balls was interesting. I can just imagine the new note. Stewart accepted explanation from P. Brennan that his horse was upset by golf balls on the way to the start.
No word of a lie. I had a kickback of a golf ball going to the start in Newbury one day. I had a black eye.
Yeah.
I'm not messing. I broke my goggles. A golf ball from the horse in front, kickback, bang! I thought it was a stone, but it was a golf ball.
If you were
I had Titleist 1 across my face. If
you are the person who struck that ball, please get in touch with the show. Because you are now friend of the pod. If you're watching on YouTube, incidentally, we're giving away an Unbridled cap, just like one of these. Paddy, model that for me. For your chance to win, simply comment below one horse that wins at the Dublin Racing Festival this weekend. Did you model it? I wasn't looking.
Can you?
No, it'll rock up the sticky uppy hair. One horse that wins at the Dublin Racing Festival, and you can win one of these beautiful Unbridled caps. You know, I was doing stateside on Sky Sports Racing last night, and someone had chucked an Unbridled mug in the sink with all the other dirty mugs, and it really upset me. The disdain that this china was being put through. Actually, I forgot about our coffee here. It's gone cold now. I want to talk about the week very quickly about the PRA, which has disappeared now, Pad. There were a couple of things that were crucial that I just want to get off my chest there. The PRA, we should just say this is the body which has roughly 170 trainers, maybe yet less after this week, who want change in horse racing. And on that score, I think it's fantastic. You know, we badly need change. We badly need some leadership. We have no leadership. We have no effectively proper chief executive at the BHA at the moment, although Brant Dunshay is the sort of so-called fill-in. So I'm all for that. But the thing about the trainers not doing interviews, which let's face facts here, it was a red herring. I took the mick out of it a little bit in an article I wrote on Monday. But it was a red herring. This was nothing to do about trainers doing interviews for most people. This was about raising money to fund the PRA. In other words, Peter Saville, the former BHB chairman, runs the PRA. There's a cost involved, and he wanted to raise money to cover those costs, which is, again, understandable. The problem is they went about it with a topic that was clearly never, ever going to take off for members of the public. Ben Brookhouse got involved in this last night on social media with me. And I would hasten to add that I like Ben Brookhouse. He's been part of my racing league team, London and the South. I think he's a good young trainer, Ben. So in no ways is any of this conversation nasty in the slightest. It's a conversation. He did say one thing to me last night, though, that did annoy me a bit. He said to me, "You don't believe in equality." And I felt I needed to just come back on that because it's a dangerous comment on social media because, you know, anyone who has any decency believes in every form of equality. You would, I would, we all think everyone should be equal. But I just wanted to explain very quickly. I appreciate this has probably gone on a bit too long already, but sometimes we have to cover these subjects. The reason why, for instance, I am happy for jockeys to get some sort of appearance money or bonus, if you want to call it. It's basically what it is. And that why I don't think trainers need to have that. And I just wanted to get that off my chest, really. First of all, let's be frank. No one in the world ever has to have a bonus or appearance money. You could always just say, that is your job, and you get paid for it. But the world is such a place that some people feel that on occasions bonuses and appearance money is relevant. It happens in lots of sports. And these are the reasons why I think jockeys deserve it. First of all, most of them, I suspect, are suffering. They don't eat properly. They probably end up with a few bad habits because of that. So it's a tough job being a jockey, but you choose to do it, but it's a tough job. Secondly, you're an athlete. And for me, you are a highly skilled athlete. So in other words, you're a rarity. For me, that's another reason why you might deserve a bonus, because you are in a very small group of the best athletes in the world. You're constantly watching your weight. After a race, I don't know this, you can tell me in a minute, Pab, once I've stopped lecturing everyone. But after a race, if I was a jockey, it's hard. Jockeys come in panting, breathing heavily. It's an extreme sport. Do you then want to speak to someone for 2 minutes before you go back into the weighing room and just get yourself together again? Well, probably not. But luckily, most of the jockeys do. And that is great. But the most important thing for me is length of career. It's a very short career. Now, if you compare all that with a trainer does not have to be fit. The trainer doesn't necessarily have a short career. Obviously, some do, but technically you could start training at the age of 18 and finish at the age of 80 if you wanted to. There's no athleticism involved, and effectively, for all of course that there are good trainers and bad trainers, and I'm not saying it's not a skilled job, obviously it is a skilled job and some are amazing at it, but at the end of the day, anyone, if they have the funds, can become a trainer, but not anyone can become a jockey. It's just you can't do it. So I think there are massive differences between why a jockey should deserve some form of payment that goes into an insurance fund than a trainer. And finally on this sport is in dire straits in lots of different ways. Trainers should be thinking to themselves every day that they go to the racetrack, how can I promote the sport? How can I get the message out that the horses are loved and cared for and looked after on a daily basis? Not that that's always a great argument, but, constantly in their mind, they should be saying to themselves, I need to do everything I can today so that this sport continues in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years' time and people can continue to train horses.
I don't know who was leading it, what way it was handled. But, yeah, I didn't think that was ever going to go in the right direction. And as far as I know, it's been abandoned, the idea, hasn't it?
Well, the trainers will be talking, as most would have done anyway, to be quite frank. The ones I spoke to said, look, we will talk, whatever. But the key here is that the cause is a sensible one that everyone would agree on. More transparency in general. Not that that's going to always happen, because businesses are businesses and some people just won't give transparency. We understand that. That's the way of the world. But the general cause is a good one. Everyone agrees that, there should be more money distributed in a better way from different places, racecourses, etc. But you have to go about it the right way. And Peter Saville, for instance, is a person that I really respect for ideas. I love a lot of his ideas. He had the idea of Premier Racing. The problem is that the people who put Premier Racing in place didn't listen to what he wanted to happen and made it a completely different thing. But his original idea of about 40 or 50 Premier Racing days clearly made sense. As it is, we ended up with hundreds of them, which clearly didn't make sense. But so I'm just saying, I want to make this absolutely clear. The cause, everyone supports. Everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet. PRA, National Trainers Federation, everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet. But this was an astonishingly bad move. And I don't know whether it will end the PRA, but it's certainly done a lot of damage. You've failed with dinner. You're still really in bits about Q card. Counselling is needed. And the best person I could think of to bring you that counselling was the person who won the 2016 Cheltenham Gold Cup on Don Cossack when you decked Q card. It's a big hello to Bryan Cooper. Hi, Coops.
How are we, lads?
All right.
Are you,
You don't sound very. You don't sound very pleased to hear from him, Paddy. Look at that. Right.
I thought we're friends now. Like, we're both retired. We've kissed and made up, haven't we? We've it's all in the past.
Have you?
Yeah, I shook his hand at we shook each other's hand at Punchestown at when we'd both retired. Well, when I'd recently retired. Oh, we had some beef. I'll let him tell you.
Because mainly, Paddy, why? Because you feel you should have won that Gold Cup, even though you decked Q Card?
Oh no, it started long before then.
Okay, Brian, what's your side of this? So have you two for a very long time, other than just the fact that you won the Gold Cup that Paddy thinks he should have won, and won it in style, I may add, have you two not met eye to eye in the past? This is fantastic podding.
No, there was a lot of beef there. We shared the same valet, Bagsy, and I was probably the only other Irish person with Bagsy, and I was always plonked beside Paddy in Cheltenham. I was quite young, but geez, he was revved. I came over for the first few times, and I never saw someone as revved. And I suppose I was a bit calm and relaxed. Maybe you wind them up a little bit, and I was a young kid and probably should have respected him a little bit better. And then we had our ins and outs in the track. He'd nailed me a couple of times to the rail, and I got him back a few times, and always gone on for years. And then I suppose winning the Gold Cup probably put a finishing touch to it then altogether. And I came in after that, and my stuff was moved away from where I usually sit, because Bagsy said, I don't think it's safe for you to sit there for the next few days, because this man is very angry.
Paddy?
Yeah, obviously...
Don't hold back here.
No,
this is your chance.
No, let me speak.
Remember, this is counselling.
Right, yeah. So when Brian came into the game, he was obviously the new kid on the block, wasn't he? He took off pretty quick. And I remember him coming to Cheltenham, he rode his treble. Or Connor. I think one for Tony Martin.
In the Triumph.
And yeah, he was... Look, it led to massive things. He became Gigginstown #1. But I suppose in my position, when a lad would walk around with a swagger in the weigh room, I'd be thinking, right, I'm going to put manners on this lad. And yeah, like when someone's winning all the race and you're not, you sometimes think of maybe take him down or do something to make myself feel better. But where we had our biggest day, Brian, was in the King George. I will never ever forget it. Don Cossack Q card. All we were missing that day was hurls. Now, Matt, living in England, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of a hurl. Have you?
A hurl.
Have you?
A hurl. I've heard of hurling.
Hurling, yeah. Well, all he was missing was a hurl, and all I was missing was a hurl. It was, the two was, from the minute we jumped off, he was sort of in and out a bit, and I went by the stands with a circuit to go, and I got upside Don Cossack, and he started screaming like a baby on me and her. And I remember thinking, he said some words, and I can hear it like it was yesterday, and I thought, right, he said, you little CFT, and I thought, right, that's fine, right hand, and I absolutely turned him sideways.
I remember walking up the track, right, so I decked Don Cossack, I'll admit it. I put him on the floor to second last, but I sleep okay at night. You know, I've moved on past it. But I was walking back up the track, and Paddy went down to parade Q card up, and yeah, if I had a hurl, I would have ran over and absolutely knocked him off the horse that day. I was so thick. You know, I was never going, but Paddy nailed me, and I held it. And then I remember I said it that day, I am going to get him back one day. And it was early in the week in Cheltenham. It was an all handicap chase, and you were riding a horse in Q Card's cutters, and I'll never forget it. And we were both out the back. I don't know if you remember. And I went by you. Like, we were both out the back, and I just stuck you to the rail on purpose just to get my payback, because I said, this is my opportunity. That was the week of the Gold Cup. But yeah, it was, I think because we were sitting beside each other as well, there was a lot of beef there, yeah.
You know what, lads? I cannot thank you both enough for talking like this, because there is no other place in horse racing, and I've had this quite a lot with Unbridled so far, that people hear these stories, like they're just not told. And this is a hard sport, and it is a hugely competitive sport. And the authorities try and make it as pure as they can in the modern era, to be honest with you. Like, running in lanes is an exaggeration, but it's more like that. But underneath it all, there are all these kind of things going on that like we don't know about at all. And you're opening up a whole new way of looking at the sport. So for me, just sat in the studio with Pad and listening to you, Brian, thank you, because I wouldn't know any of this. And I feel I know quite a lot about the game and what's going in and out, but I wouldn't know any of this. Of course, there was another problem when Bryan Cooper came over, Pad, because although looking at him now, it's hard to believe, when he was a teenager, he was voted Ireland's sexiest sportsman. So not only do you have this incredible young talent, and this was Jack Kennedy in his teens. Bryan Cooper was Jack Kennedy. I promise you, he might be bashful about it, I don't know. But he was this young sensation, but he was also Ireland's sexiest sportsman. And he comes and sits next to you. No wonder he had a bit of swagger about him.
Yeah, but, all jokes aside, you don't know how much pressure is involved when you're leading up to a Gold Cup, Matt. You have no idea. Absolutely no idea. Like, when I fell on cue card in the Gold Cup,
you decked cue card.
Whatever I did, I wish I broke my leg. I honestly would have felt better because I'd have been in an ambulance. I'd have got. I needed morphine ASAP. There was no morphine. Like what he felt at the King George, there were 2 massive races. You come back into the weigh room. I'll never ever forget that after Brian won. I'm not sure if I got to congratulate him on the day or not. I literally left. No, he's not in his head. I left in an emergency. Left like I just robbed the place. Because I seen lads, I could name them, but I won't. I'll leave that for another day. Half smiling and whispering about my riding down to that fence. It still haunts me a little bit, if you hadn't noticed. But for Brian to win that day, he'll remember Don Cossack winning the Gold Cup forever. That's something you can never take away. Wherever he walks in life, he's won a Gold Cup. But when you have that moment of you half think, I probably made a mistake there, I up, and then you're walking back into that weigh room. Jesus, that was the horriblest moment in my life.
Brian, just to clear up this Gold Cup mess, Don Cossack was a really good horse. Genuinely, without winding Paddy up too much, did you actually just think the best horse won that Gold Cup?
Yeah, honest to God, look, I didn't even hit him a slap behind the saddle. And when have you ever seen a Gold Cup horse, win a Gold Cup like that? I was going so well. Even the 4th last, I took the back cleat out of him. I got him into pop and he nodded at the back of it. And I had so much horse. He lashed straight back onto the bridle again. And I remember Paddy's head, I was keeping out till there was a fresh patch of ground, kind of 3 off the rail. And when Paddy and Q-Card's head appeared in the middle before he fell, the horse actually lashed on and have to run away at me down the hill. I had so much horse and I'm mad about it. There's no doubt about it, I would have won. I thought if Paddy would have took me a bit further, I was in front further sooner than I wanted, and Jack and him drifted apart, he fell apart after the bend. I would have loved if Paddy stood up because I just felt I would have got a lead longer and made it a lot easier to win. So Paddy, that's my opinion.
I wanted this to be a bit of counselling session. Can you now leave the Unbridled studio today in the knowledge that even if you hadn't decked Q-Guard, you wouldn't actually have won, and therefore you can be at peace?
No, I don't think you can ever be at peace. But I do agree. Like, Brent, when I appeared on your inside at that moment, I was going to be there an hour too soon. What the was I doing? But when you rode for Colin Tizard, you've experienced it. You've never ridden a fitter horse. You never think, I'm going to Colin Tizard, I'm going to get there and this is going to get tired. He would have galloped. Now, Brian might be right. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'll always believe that I would have won. But that's just sport. You leave it at that. And Matt, if I wanted counselling, I wouldn't be ringing Matt Chapman.
You can ring me.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone to me there, I'll help.
Oh dear. Brian,
you have won a Gold Cup. At least you have won, Paddy.
Yeah, true. No, I loved it. I'm glad you did. So there we are.
Brian, I want to talk to you about you because, as we've mentioned before, in the old days on the old At the Races, I was broadcasting a lot in Ireland, and you would have started your career effectively when we were covering all the Irish racing. And as I say, you were this, I would say, prodigy, really. He was absolutely this teenage, brilliant lad. But you've actually, you went through quite a lot in the early stage of your life, just like Jack Kennedy. You broke bones badly and a lot of times at a very young age. You shared a house with Robbie McNamara, who, of course, had a really horrific accident. People will forget, but actually, very shortly after Robbie's accident, he let me into the hospital, and I did an interview with him at the races, which, with the benefit of hindsight, I can't believe we actually did. Robbie, who's paralysed, and then obviously, ultimately, you've stopped riding when you could have carried on. Can you just tell our listeners why you stopped and why you kind of almost fell out of love with the game?
It's not that I fell out of love with maybe when that year in 2013 when things weren't going well. I was lucky enough I got back to a very good level and position. I was riding for the big trainers. I had another festival winner. I was riding in all the big races. Okay, not be it first strings, but I was still picking up very good spares. So I was blatantly honest. I lost my bottle. The injuries took their toll. I wasn't enjoying riding horses. I was worried about getting a fall and getting hurt again, and I couldn't continue. I couldn't get up out of bed and go racing and think about that. I was doing it for so long, and I said, it's like, as I said, it's like anyone with a, if they have a gambling addiction or a drink addiction. You can only put it at bay for so long, and then it all comes crashing down. And unfortunately, it came crashing down on me in the morning with Cheltenham. I hadn't planned it, but look, I'm very content. It's going to be 2 years in March, and I've never been as happy in my life. Still struggling to find that bit of a thrill like you get, as Paddy knows, walking into Cheltenham as a winner or walking on the chute. I think that's a bit irreplaceable, but I'm enjoying trying to find that next bit of a thrill that gives me that adrenaline again, and really enjoying it.
Brian, for people I remember, you had probably the worst leg injury in my whole experience of a jockey. Can you just bring us back to that, and how is it now? And the recuperation for that was, you just explain how bad that was.
Look, it was horrific. I suppose the hardest part for me was when I was in. I went to Gloucester first for a bit of surgery, and then they sent me to Bristol. And look, I've spoken about it plenty, but when I was in the ward, I was meant to have my own room, but I didn't. And they gave me the guy in the bed beside me was going down for the same surgery prior to me. And he went down that morning. I was going in the afternoon, and he came up, and he was there in the room just before I was going down, and he'd lost his leg. So I was going down for the same surgery, and he was there. Well, you're next. You're going to lose your leg as well. Now, thankfully, I didn't. I came back up with it, but that was extremely tough. And being able to come back up knowing I had a leg again was great. The side effects, I found the rehab quite, it was tough, but it was enjoyable. It got me out of bed to do something. Now I struggle. I can't run anymore at all, which is a bit frustrating. I struggle to run. But look, I'm walking. I have a leg. I got back and rode so many great winners, including the Gold Cup. So I was lucky in one sense that I saved it. But it was tough. Yeah.
And you still sit on horses though, don't you?
Oh yeah. I ride out at home whenever I'm down there. I have a lot of young stock of my own. Flat jumps, anything I can make a few quid on, I'll have them, and I have them down at home because it's quite hard to buy property in Ireland at the minute. I have my own house in Kildare, but I have no land, so I'm lucky to have the home place with Dad, and I'm very much involved with that as well. So ride out as much as I can. Yeah,
Brian, I want to just very quickly explore the bottle thing, because again, it's not something that, for obvious reasons, jockeys talk about very much, and mostly don't really talk about when they retire either. But you have been very open about this. As a rider who is losing their bottle, what goes through your mind as you approach a hurdle or a fence on the wrong stride? What is the feeling inside you?
I was able to put it at bay when I got to the races for a certain period of time, but it just started getting worse. And then I suppose when you're getting falls, you're getting up and you're just saying like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Very rarely came into my head in a race. Now, maybe I towards the latter part, I might have, backed out of things, whereas before I wouldn't have. But it's probably on the run up that I found the toughest, just like from declaration point, like the worst, from the very minute declarations came out till I got in the car till I went home, I dreaded going racing. I dreaded riding horses. I like being in the weighing room, having a crack with the lads, but I didn't want to be going out in them. And I did it for a period of time, and the reason I said it and was open about it, like I could have come up with this story of, oh, I'm not getting opportunities, and this is I fell out of love with the game. Like there was no point lying and coming up with a story. I felt the best thing to do was be honest, and that's why I had to admit it.
And Louis, I have a lot of respect for that, Brian. And believe me, honesty is always the best policy, because over time it'll even itself out. But I remember riding in the Boodles, which was the Fred Winter last Cheltenham. And Brian, I coming down the hill. It's obviously I've got a month left in my career. I didn't know at that time, but I knew my time was nearly up. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I'm going backwards. There's 20 runners. And I remember meeting Fergal walking in, and I sort of said to him, I'm done. I'm done with this. I won't be riding that race again. And I don't know, was it bottle? But there was the odd race towards the end of my career. I was done. I was done. Obviously, you could go on a race and ride a great jumper in a lesser field. I found that easier. But maybe that's where we're lucky in the respect that we've walked away, and we can find comfort that we did that. It was a great period of our life, but I don't miss it. And by speaking to you, you don't sound like you do. We're lucky.
No, yeah, and I still I school the odd time at home, and I did a bit of show jumping. I don't mind that, but everyone used to be joking about me if I go down and sit in a few pointers to see them. You know, Barry O'Neill said to me, "Oh, you'll be back yet?" But no, like you're going your own speed. You're in control of it yourself.
Yeah,
it's not. Like I couldn't think of anything worse than going around Leopardstown this weekend now in a handicap hurdle with 24 runners either side. That'd be my worst nightmare.
Is it harder when you will have people, even people like myself, who don't really have much knowledge of the intricacies of riding as such? But I know for a fact that back in the day, I'll have said to Brian, look, you're so talented. Like, are you sure you want to, like, when people are saying you've got this incredible talent that most people haven't got, but you don't want to do it anymore, does that make it harder, or it makes no difference at all? It's just you've decided for yourself.
No, I had it in my head I was gone in Punchestown anyway. I kind of was banking on Scarlett and Dove, and Mayor of Joseph Bryant's and Jigginstown. She was probably favoured for the mayor's chase, and she thought she might go out on a high, and then she didn't make Cheltenham. So I was like, what's the point? And it just hit me. But no, look, as I said, I got back to a very good level. I know I had a year and a half or 2 years where things went dry, but I got back going well and rode plenty of good horses. And I'm very, very content and happy with my decision.
Coops, fascinating talking to you. We've got to wrap up fairly quickly, but just away from Paddy, was there any story while you were riding in Ireland that's worth a mention just before we finish?
Sure, I rode with some great characters. Like I started off like quite young, even the likes of, I was just thinking of mine, Tommy Tracy, he was a great character in the way, and he was mad. And some of the stories, you forget about these lads. Like I remember when the ground was quick, Kilbeg and these places, he'd say, look at the worms, they're trying to come out through the ground, and stories like that. Obviously, I used to always slag Davy Russell. He had a hot and cold relationship, but when he was on his happy pills, because he'd be coming in singing and jerking around the ring or the weighing room. Other days he might put you through a wall. But no, some great characters. What was the other one? I think JJ Slevin. His dress code was fairly it's got a bit better, but he arrived in a Hermes tie one day, and we were all looking at JJ with a Hermes tie. Like he could have two different shoes on him one day, and I asked him where did he get it, and he said it was a hand me down from Aidan. He said Aidan O'Brien arrived up with a bag, or he took some off Aidan or Joseph, so he didn't even buy it, but he's got a new job there now, so I hope he might splash out on a few more designer things.
Well, at least he can have one dark green and one light green shoe. At least he can still have slightly different. But and just finally, you mentioned to me that you were looking for a bit of land, etc., and stuff like that. And of course, Tommy, as I used to call him, just like that, Cooper, from the days of Tommy Cooper, whose catchphrase was just like that. Your old man, terrific trainer, is a trainer. You're looking for some land. Is training going to be something for you ever or not?
Nah, no way. Like I help out at home a lot, but I never put my name to it. I just think it's very hard. Like Dad is he's got some very good horses. He's a great horse runner, and Eamon Kate runs this weekend at the Dublin Racing Festival. I like being a part of it, but I'll never commit to it. I prefer to buying and selling and bringing along younger stock. So that's where I get a thrill at. I love the sales. I love trying to make a few quid when I can. So no, that's the side I see of it. I just could never commit to trading.
Amazing. If you find a good one, there's an organisation called the Paddy Brennan Racing Club. You could sell one to him, and I'd love you to make a few quid out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Paddy, you know where I am.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
This has been the best counselling session, and we can all leave this conversation now knowing that the right horse won the 2016 Cheltenham Gold Cup. Brian, you've been absolutely brilliant. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, nice to speak to you, Brian.
Cheers, lads.
All the best.
All the best.
All the best. Thank you.
That's it, I think, for this week. Anything else you'd like to add? I've enjoyed this show. Sorry about my PRA rant, but sometimes you just have to, on a show like this, talk sensibly and get things off your chest.
Well, did you get it off your chest?
Yeah, I think I did, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.